Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons and Dragons advice video about a book called the Dungeoneers Survival Guide. Before I get into that, however, if you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you would hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content on social media, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page on Amazon. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find the link to the page in the description of this video. You can find all of my books on that author page. I like to think I write good stories that make you think. I wrote a 3-book science fiction Western series called Drifters. I wrote a fun story called The House Off Farrago Road. It's about a house in New Orleans where the monsters all hang out. I wrote a political fantasy called The Righteous President, and I've written 2 science fiction. It's the first 2 in a series. 2 science fiction stories. The first one is Vanguard 1. The second one is Task Force Terminus. It's futuristic space warfare. It's a study of humanity from an alien perspective. Hope you get them. Hope you like them. Now, on with the Dungeoneers Survival Guide. There are a great many books and guides and source books with advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and they have them with all games. The ones that are necessary to play advanced Dungeons and Dragons are the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Monster Manuals. You got to be able to make a character. You got to be able to run the game, and you got to have monsters to run up against. You don't absolutely have to have the Monster Manual, but damn, they sure help. In my opinion, there are 3 other books that are exactly the same way as the Monster Manuals. I put them right there along with them. They're you don't absolutely have to have them, but damn, it makes the game so much easier to run. The 3 books are the Manual of the Plains, the Wilderness Survival Guide, and the Dungeoneers Survival Guide. I talked about the Manual of the Plains in another video. It's a necessary book should your players gain a sufficient level to be noticed by greater beings. The other 2, the Dungeoneers Survival Guide and the Wilderness Survival Guide, are a necessary addition to any Dungeon Master's game, any Dungeon Master's library, regardless of their level. And these books are so good, you can use the information even if you play in later versions of D&D. Some of the game mechanic stuff may have changed, but the information is brilliant. Okay, so just the interaction between the greater beings in the Manual of the Plains, for example, that's brilliant. And the same with these others. It gives you ideas. Again, the game mechanics may be different, but the information is prime. The Dungeoneers Survival Guide is an indispensable book, just chock full of pertinent information useful for any underground campaign. I'm sorry, I'm a moron. I had trouble reading my own writing. Imagine that. Ay, ay, ay. It's the Dungeoneer Survival Guide is it's indispensable for running underground games. This is just a basic perusal of the table of contents of that book. And this is going to pique any dungeon master's interest. An overview of the Underdark, natural and unnatural locales and hazards of the area. Movement rules for underground play, such as swimming, climbing, jumping, rope use, and others. Underground combat, because there's always, no matter where you're at, if you're having combat, there's going to be terrain factors that go into it. And underground factors are, oh my God, horrific. They can be really bad. Then there's the general hazards of the underground, such as air supply, hypothermia, mining, cave-ins, structural decay, underground waterways. And they have a list of new equipment, including what can be used as weapons. And by the way, if you're not familiar with a pickaxe, they make excellent weapons. I'm just saying. And they're essentially a mining tool, but yeah, they make pretty good weapons. There are also a great many tables and charts included in this book dealing with all of the above. The primary intent, for my part, of this book is to reduce the arbitrary decisions necessary during a game. Too many times a dungeon master has to make decisions on the fly which affect the campaign for years into the future, and it is never ever easy. I did one called Setting Precedents. Check that one out. A video of mine called Setting Precedents. Check that out. This book helps to alleviate that situation. The information presented there in this book allows the game to have structure and a consistency with a bedrock foundation in rules. So when a player says, "Well, I don't like that ruling," it's right here in the book. The rules in this book slide seamlessly into the rules in the other books, and altogether they create a framework for you to judge virtually any underground situation. This book is brilliant. All in all, I highly recommend the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Dungeoneers Survival Guide for any dungeon master, regardless of experience or age. If you plan to run any kind of a Dungeons & Dragons game, this book makes your job a whole lot easier. That's all I'm going to say about that. If you ain't got it, get it, because you're going to need it. Trust me. If questions are going to come up at some point, you're going to need it. Hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all. There is a house in New Orleans where the monsters all hang out. When the police detective, who happens to be a skinwalker squirrel, uncovers a plot by a paranormal perpetrator, he has to enlist the aid of his fellow housemates. If you enjoy a modern, quirky take on historical mythology, check out my new original novel, The House Off Farrago Road.